In an effort to curb the sale of semiconductors and chip-making parts to China, the White House putting restrictions in place. But according to the Wall Street Journal, Samsung and TSMC have been spared, I should say, from the new ruling this year. Joining us now to discuss competition with China, ESG, maybe a little Elon Musk. Joe Lonsdale is here, 8VC founding partner, and of course, a Palantir co-founder. It's great to see you. You want to talk China first, because this is a big issue. You've been talking about it for a very long time.
Yeah, it's been a good year for the U.S. on a relative basis, right? And it's one bright spot you could possibly say, with all the incompetence going on, is that democracy has shown that it's a better system than autocracy. When the tide goes out, you see you swimming naked, and these autocracies are in a huge amount of trouble around the world, and China especially. Their policies are crazy. So
if the policies are crazy, how do you think about U.S. businesses that are doing business in China? I mean, and by the way, this is not, I'm not just talking chip companies. I'm talking about Nike. I'm talking about Starbucks. I'm talking about BlackRock.
I mean, listen, there's obviously a huge middle class of consumers there, and it's a huge market. I think everyone's realizing you can't have your supply chain dependent on China. Like, everyone's scrambling to fix that. And I think the bigger thing, Andrew, with China right now is it's crazy the extent to which they've destroyed their tech sector the last 3 years. Like, none of us expected this. They've basically made it so it's like friends don't let friends become Chinese billionaires. They're all terrified to build tech companies now.
So does that put us in a completely different position? If you were sitting here 2 years ago, you would have said China is, a major threat that could go eat our lunch.
China is still a major threat from a defense perspective. There's still going to be a long-term threat on the tech side. We have a unique opportunity right now because, the way the U.S. tech sector works is that a large percent of the companies are created by people who've already built things. The Elon Musk you mentioned, right. Like, he keeps building stuff. I've built 6 large companies. I'm building a lot more right now. So all of us are building things. If either of us were Chinese, you think we'd be building a next new big company? No, you'd be terrified. And by the way, Xi Jinping wouldn't want you to be doing that. You'd be too powerful. He's made that clear. So the Chinese tech sector has pulled back. It's an advantage right now. If the U.S. takes advantage, if we keep bringing in the top talented people, if we get our immigration stuff right,
And you've written about that. So where do you think what do we got to do on the immigration front?
I mean, there's the table stakes, first of all. The op-ed this week in the Journal is basically, it shouldn't take 800 days to get a visitor visa from New Delhi. It shouldn't take 400 days on average right now to bring in someone for business, just to come visit. Right. The State Department is just completely broken on that. So as much as it's a good year for democracy relatively, we need to hold our government accountable. We need competence, because we've been.
Okay, so what's the politics there, though? Because we've talked about this. This should be a bipartisan issue, I would think.
It should be a bipartisan. You know what's not bipartisan, what's not happening right now is Congress needs to demand accountability. They need to demand competence in our government. The State Department, after 9/11, 2 years later, it was taking people 2 weeks to get visas. So this is not what's going on right now. Is not because it's some kind of special security thing or whatever. It's because we haven't demanded people come back to work after COVID and hold them accountable for basic competency.